you think about your spine person, you have to be kind of loosey-goosey, you have to be agile, you have to be able to move, right? Okay, that's this section, that's your spine, you gotta have agility in there. Your next section, I like to think about my elbows and my knees. There's still some bending in there, but there's still some hardness too, and I can still strike at those points if I want to, okay? Then I've got my hard part, that's my feet and my fists, okay? Those need to be strong, need to be straight, and need to hit hard, okay? That's how I personally think about the why we have the blade functioning the way it's functioning. It's just like the human body. Okay, does that make sense?
No.
No?
Can you repeat it?
No. I'll show you firsthand.
Start again.
I'd like a different.
So we're talking about these transitions, and we're talking about quenching it in oil quickly. We don't want to just hit that oil right here. Right away, we'll set it at that point, and when it cools down a little bit, we're going to step that blade down just a hair more into that oil, and then just a hair more. Okay?
That is if we don't have clay.
As if you don't have clay.
But do we have
Or
clay?
even if you have clay, on that back, you're going to be doing that just in this part and at this point. Because what that does is it doesn't create just a straight line of soft to hard transition. It creates a little bit of a barrier in there for that
Well,
transition to
and
flow.
the top will be cooling because it'll start to cool above it, the part that's in the oil.
It will.
Yeah, which is good. I mean, they'll get that
Yep.
transition.
Get more transition. But just so you guys know, you don't want just one hard line in that oil. You get in there right away in that line, and then as soon as you're in there for a little while, and then you just dip it down a hair and work that just, a little bit more.
So it's so important that you guys have learned how to make the master steel, the steel part. Okay? So your billets, to me, are enough layers because you have learned how to make the steel. So it don't matter if you got 1 fold, 12 folds, it don't matter. So we really, to get this class up and going, we gotta start bringing these things into shape, nice shapes. You guys know how to do the steel. We have drilled that in your heads. And if you got a doubt about how to do the steel, come over here, we'll hit you.
Yeah.
You're
You're threatening me
threatening
again.
Hate to harass people.
I know.
Perfect job.
I bought a beer too, I don't get it.
Crazy world, man.
That's what it was, you didn't show it to us.
I see it. Thank you.
I basically did my overview here. I don't want to put too much information in your guys' head.
Oh, excellent.
Is there any sort of questions on any of these?
Well,
Now Dave asked me to do a little bit of the thermal cycling, and I kind of talked to you guys about that already. Was there any questions on that part of the thermal cycling? Shrinking that grain structure down right before we actually go to harden it? Okay. So we have it normalized, we have it in our shape. We've done all of our grinding because it's annealed. Okay. What we're going to do is bring it up to non-magnetic, pull it out, let it air cool, put it back in, let it be a shade darker or a lower temperature.
Me and Cody wanna be with you when you do this.
Oh, you think?
You pull it out, you let it air
You don't
cool,
have a
you do it one more
choice.
time at a low dull red, and you pull it out and let it air
Now,
cool.
would it really be better to do these in the propane?
No,
uh,
don't make no difference.
Well, it seems like that you've got a more
It's your
uniform
own problem.
temperature in there than in the forges, because the
They take more
forges
care.
change.
Yeah, it takes more vigilance, I guess, in the coal than in the gas.
Well,
but-
just with the blower, it just seems that, for this one anyway, that it changes, over about 5 minutes, it changes a lot,
Okay.
so.
Well, the other thing we can do is get back on the hand crank. We're not doing a bunch of, serious forging at that point. If we just want to control the temperature some more, we can throw hand crank back on there and control a little bit better that way, or stick one of those blowers that wasn't quite as powerful on them, at that point.
Well, it just that I, in thinking about what you're trying to achieve with the hardening and tempering, you're really looking for consistency as you go from one stage to the other. And that's the one thing, depending on how you've tended your fire and how you can observe what that means, which I'm less than a rank amateur at.
I'm perfectly okay with you guys jumping on the gas for that part, you know, also, if you're,
Yeah,
if you have, you know, doubts like yourself, you know, I'll sit there and I'll walk you through on the coal, or I don't have an issue if you go over the gas. Okay, for that point, for that.
I'd like to see how both would work.
When you're at your home or your shop, what do you use 90% of the time?
If I'm working on Damascus knives or any forge building, it's my gas forge. If I'm working on anything traditional mild steel, it's my coal forge, usually just because of the shape. Just because of the shape, because when
I
I'm doing,
spoil them right off the bat.
when I'm doing like any traditional iron work,
Yeah.
I've got big, weird shapes.
Yeah.
I gotta use my coal, you know, forge because it has it over the top and I can really get in there.
Is your?
I bought a gas forge specifically for Damascus making.
Okay, so you use your coal for the master.
Yeah, I mean, I could use it for Damascus, but I have a really nice gas forge that,
Yeah, okay.
you know,
Less work, a little less work.
yeah, and it does keep it more uniform, and I don't have to have a constant eye on it. I can let it